Yo, 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 want some chicken to go? I don't know why I said that. You get it or you don't. I feel awkward now. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. If you've been here before, if you haven't been here before, welcome in for the first time. I'll preface my video by saying I grew up in San Antonio. I'm a lifelong Spurs fan, but I try to give non biased takes on my videos, even though, of course, I'm going to be showing extra love to the Spurs players for the most part. But today, we're here to compare sophomore year Shaquille O'Neal to sophomore year Victor Wembanyama's numbers. I don't know if you saw my last video. In my last video, I did second year Tim Duncan compared to second year Wemby. And if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Numbers were very, very close there. I think Wemby probably edged him out slightly if you're just looking at the numbers. But just like I'll do for this video today, um, the pace of the game was way different back in Tim Duncan's second season. Just like in Shaq's second season, things were totally different. But we'll just present the numbers for now, and then we can kind of get into the pace of the game and how things have changed, just so we can kind of make an educated decision there. But Shaq's second season was 1993, 1994, so literally 30 years ago now, which is just crazy to think how fast the time's gone by. But if you see here, 93-94 season for Shaquille O'Neal. First thing I'm going to look at for both guys, because this is important for the numbers, is going to be the minutes. So Shaq, 40 minutes per game, it's 39.8, but we're just going to call that 40. Wemby, 33.2, we'll just call it 33 minutes a game for Wemby. So Shaq's playing 7 more minutes per game, so that's a sizable difference in time that he's in the game there. There was no load management back here in these times, so if you just kind of look through Shaq's numbers, he was always 36 minutes plus. He was always playing big minutes, just like most of the guys would do back then. But, 7 more minutes per game for Shaq, so we'll keep in mind Shaq was playing more minutes. But again, like we'll get into later, the pace was totally different. Scoring and things like that were different. So we'll come back to that in a moment here. But yeah, we'll start with the points. Shaquille O'Neal, 93-94 season. He's averaging 29.3 points per game compared to Wemby's 25 points per game. So we'll have to give Shaq the nod there. Whenever Shaq came into the league, he was already monster by the time he came into the league. I know he went to LSU for college. Here, let's see real quick there. Shaq LSU. Let's see. I'm honestly not sure how many years he was in college. Let's see how many years was Shaq in college. Let's see real quick. All right, blah blah blah. 7'1", 325 pounds, so big old boy. Definitely a totally different game from Wemby. Shaq is just playing the bully ball. All right. Saying all this crap about him. Blah blah blah. Early life. Who cares? Here we go. College career. All right. Graduated 1989 from high school. Then, let's see, played 91. So I think it was the 90. Looks like the 90-91, 90-92 season. So I think he had the 2 years in college. Then he came into the NBA that 93 season. So that was his first season in the NBA. Let me see though. Let's see one more thing. Let's see, how old was Shaq? How do I type? Literally typed how old was Shaq as, and the first thing that pops up is how old was LeBron as a rookie. It's so random how everything pushes LeBron out there. Oh man. So yeah, he was 20 years old his rookie season, so 93, 94. He was 21 years old, just like Wemby. So we're comparing them at the same ages there, but got off tangent a little bit there. We'll come back. 29 points per game compared to Wemby's 25. So Shaq has him by a full 4 points per game there. So we have to give Shaq the nod on the points per game. Turnovers per game, 2.7 for Shaq, 3.6 for Wemby. Shaq had the ball in his hands probably more than Wemby even this year, or at least just as much. Once Shaq gets the ball, he's probably not passing it back out. He's going to bully you, and he's going to dunk on your head. So not a lot of opportunities to be passing the ball out to get stolen. Usually once he touches the ball in the post, he's getting up a shot, and it's probably going to be a good shot too. But yeah, Shaq has him on the turnovers. Shaq has him on the points. Steals per game, 0.9 for Shaq, 1 for Wemby. They both have a steal per game. That's a tie. 2.9 blocks per game for Shaq, where Wemby has the 4 blocks per game, so we have to give it to Wemby on the blocks. Again, I don't know if anyone's ever averaged 4 blocks per game for a season. Another thing I have to check out now. Most BPG per game. NBA history. Let's see who it was. Okay, here we go. That's Mark Eaton just for his career, 3.5, which is crazy per game in season. So hard to put the exact words to look up these records. Holy crap. I had to double take on that. Let me see if this is real. Oh my goodness, that's insane. And if y'all look at all this. So yeah, Victor has his work cut out from on the blocks. I didn't realize how many ridiculous shot blockers there have been in the NBA history. But yeah, Victor's averaging the 4 right now. So if he finishes the season averaging the 4 blocks per game, there's still 16 dudes ahead of him, which is crazy to think. Patrick Ewing, Mark Eaton, Dikembe, of course, Kareem, Hakeem, Trey Rollins. I don't think I've heard of him. Please let me know if you have heard of Trey Rollins. Manute Bol, he was an animal too. My boy David Robinson, the Admiral. Dikembe again. Yeah, if we get up to the top, that's freaking nuts, honestly. He played all 82 games. Mark Eaton averaged 5.6 blocks per game. To be fair, that's the 84-85 season. People weren't taking as many threes and as many outside shots, so he had more opportunities to block shots in the paint, of course, but have to give him all the credit in the world. 5.6 blocks per game is just crazy. But again, got off my tangent. Let's get back to it. Wemby has the 4. Shaq had the 2.9. We'll just call it 3. So Wemby's a whole block ahead of him, so we have to give it to Wemby there. 2.4 assists per Shaq, where Wemby's at 3.8. So Wemby's a good assist and a half ahead of him. Again, Again, once Shaq will get the ball in the paint, he's not really looking to pass out. He's looking to finish down low, which 99% of the time was probably the best option for his team because he was just such a freaking athlete. Rebounds 13.2 for Shaq compared to Wemby's 10.8. So Shaq's a good rebounder and a half ahead of him. Give the nod to Shaq there. Free throw percentage, won't be a surprise here. 55% for Shaq. He's notorious for being one of the worst free throw shooters in the whole history of the NBA. where Wemby's at 87% from the free throw line. Um, Probably one of the best big man free throw shooters in the history of the NBA, just with how good his stroke is. So we have to give Wemby the edge there on the free throw percentage. Three ball, again, this is not going to be a surprise. Shaq, 0%. I don't know if he took one that whole season. Probably didn't. Wemby at 35% from three, but again, can't really compare that. Shaq's not shooting any threes at all. But just going through the numbers, we have to give Wemby the nod there. Again, though, like I was saying, it's not really a fair comparison when Shaq's not shooting any three balls. Field goal percentage, just stupid. Shaq's at 60% from the field. Wemby at 48% from the field. If you haven't watched Wemby highlights or Spurs games, um, Wemby is a big man. He's tall, obviously, but he's a guard. He plays like a guard. He's shooting outside shots more than shots in the paint. So for his play style, 48% from the field is very good. I know there's haters out there that want to see him be in the paint and this and that and just be dunking everything, but his body's just not there yet. He's still working on adding weight and adding muscle on before he'll start doing that work in the post. I've said in previous videos, I think that once Wemby does even get his size and his muscle on, he's still going to be a finesse game in the post with hook shots and just great footwork and things like that. He's not going to be a Shaquille O'Neal type of, just bully ball player, I don't think, at any point in his career. But yeah, with that being said, I have to give the nod to Shaq. 60% from the field. He's just dunking everything. He's just an absolute beast. All right, 19.6 attempts from the field per game for Shaq, where Wemby's at 19 attempts per game from the field. So they're taking the same amount of shots there. Again, you can look at the minutes again. Shaq is playing the 7 extra minutes per game than Wemby, 7 more minutes per game. But again, same amount of field goal attempts. So, Shaq's 29 points per game, he's getting them on the same amount of field goal attempts. If Wemby was playing the same amount of minutes, I can't really say he would be averaging the 29 like Shaq. I think he would be if he had the 7 extra minutes, but he's going to have extra field goal attempts there naturally. Um, so, Shaq's just an animal, just one of the most efficient scorers the game has ever seen because he's just dunking and all of his shots are within 1 foot of the rim. As they should be, just such a big boy out there. You might as well be dunking everything as he did. All right. But I mean, with that being said, Shaq's got him in points. He's got him in turnovers. Steals are the same. Wemby's got him on blocks. Wemby's got him on assists. Shaq's got him on steals. Wemby's the better free throw shooter, better 3-point shooter, of course, just the better overall shooter. Where Shaq has him on the field goal percentage, and they're taking the same amount of field goal attempts per game, even though Shaq is playing 7 more minutes per game. Again, like I said at the beginning of the game, born and raised in San Antonio, diehard Spurs fan, but I'm just going to say it, second year Shaq is better than second year Wemby as far as I'm concerned. And the way I preface that, I always say, this is my argument for who's better than who. If they switch spots, are the Spurs closer to winning a championship? And I'd say, honestly, if you switch Shaq, second year version of Shaq with the second year version of Wemby right now, I watch all the Spurs games, and I would say we are closer to winning a championship if we did do that just for this year. Potential wise, I think Wemby has way more potential than Shaq, moving on his career, especially now that we've seen how Shaq's career went on. Maybe if we were in 94 and I saw Shaq and him and Wemby came in the league at the same time, we might be projecting Shaq to have more potential. It would be a good argument. But now that we've seen kind of how Shaq's career went, or played out rather, he didn't have great work ethic. He would have been the best player of all time, if he worked on his free throws and developed a jump shot for himself. Um, but he's just blessed with his God-given body. He's just bigger and stronger than everybody. Um, just from being born, basically. So, not to sound like a hater, I'm going to, but Shaq was just lazy, just had bad work ethic. He wasn't wasn't in the gym practicing this and that. He was just bigger and stronger than guys. So, his numbers just came with his size. Not to say he wasn't skilled. He had some hook shots and some decent post moves, but most of it came off of just the power that he had. Um, but yeah, being a Spurs fan, like I said, um, just to be totally not biased, I think second year Shaq does put us closer to a championship. If we did have him and Wemby switch places, right now in the second year of their careers. But with that being said, let's see one more thing. Because I said I would compare this as well. Points per game, NBA history. All right, here we go. So I know we compared the minutes. Shaq is playing the 7 extra minutes. But again, they're taking the same amount of field goal attempts. If Wemby had those 7 extra minutes, his rebounds probably would look more like Shaq's. He'd probably be averaging, probably closer to 13 rebounds per game, honestly, if you had the 7 extra minutes. Wemby's blocks would be even crazier. So the 7 minutes are a factor, keep that in mind as we make the comparison. But here we go. 2024, 2025 season. So that's going to be this season. Here's the two main things that I wanted to point out. 112.9, which is called 113 points per game, being averaged this season on 89, see right there, 89 field goal attempts. So, yeah, keep that in mind. 113 points per game, 89 field goal attempts. Now, if we go down to 93-94 season, Shaq's sophomore year in the NBA. All right, here's your points right here. People think the pace is so much slower, but it was a pretty high pace at this time in the NBA, believe it or not. 93-94 points per game, 101.5 points per game. So in this season, it's 113, so 12 more points per game to be distributed amongst the players. Let's see here. Here's our field goal attempts. 93-94, 84.4. So 84 field goal attempts per game in Shaq's sophomore season just throughout the NBA. 87 field goal attempts per game this season. So you're comparing 113 points per game to 101 and a half. So about 12 more points per game, like I was saying, to be distributed. And then about 3 more field goal attempts per game. The 84 compared to, or actually, it was actually 89 attempts per game this season. So, yeah, about 5 more field goal attempts per game. But it wasn't a huge, big difference in points per game or field goal attempts per game. Of course, we're shooting way more threes today. But I mean, that'd be more rebounds for Shaq to get off the clanked 3-pointers everyone's shooting these days and things like that. But yeah, 101 compared to 113, then the 84 compared to the 89 field goal attempts. So yeah, about 5 more field goal attempts per game to be spread amongst the players, and then about 12 more points per game to be spread amongst the players there as well. So I mean, if Shaq's playing today, we could probably add on. I mean, throw him an extra rebound, throw him at least an extra point. So he's averaging probably something like 30 points and 14 rebounds. Just animal numbers. Yeah, I mean, if you made it to the end of my video, please comment below what you think. Again, I'm a diehard Spurs fan. I'm always be giving the Spurs love and be giving Wemby love, of course, and just all of our team. But with that being said, I'm not a biased NBA fan, and I know second year Shaq, in my opinion, and I feel like it's almost just a fact looking at the numbers. Second year Shaq, if we put him on the Spurs today, just for this season, I'm not talking about projecting out, just for this season, we'd have a better chance to win the championship this year than having Wemby. One more thing I hadn't mentioned yet, this Orlando team, 93-94, they finished second in the East. The record was 50-32, and Shaq only missed one game the whole season. Um, so yeah, I mean Shaq's the main guy on the team. Led his team to a 50-32 record his sophomore season. They had Penny Hardaway, so he had another superstar player next to him, which Wemby doesn't have yet. But yeah, finished 50-32, second seed in the East with Shaq as the number one option. Of course, he had a better team around him than Wemby has right now, so there's different points to argue there with that go with how as far as that goes with the team. Um, but yeah, I mean, second year Shaq is just a beast. Please comment below and let me know what you think. Again, in my opinion, I think second year Shaq, if we traded him for Wemby this season, we're closer to winning a championship this season. Projecting into the future, I'd rather have Wemby than Shaq all day, so I agree with you there. But yeah, just for this season right now, I think second year Shaquille O'Neal is a better player than second year Wemby. But please comment below what you think. Please like and subscribe if you made it to the end of the video, and we will see you guys again next time.